In this video, we're going to go through how to add error bars to our chart. So what we have so far is our bar graph from our data, and we see we have our labels associated with each of the means. Now I'm going to click off of this bar. I'm just going to click any random cell here so that this chart is no longer highlighted. Now if I just click anywhere on the chart, I just click once to highlight it, you'll see that two items show up in the menus, chart design and format. And so what these two options provide are a number of ways to make modifications to our chart. So what I want to do here is I'm going to click Chart Design, and this allows me to do different things and make modifications to the default type of graph that Excel makes here. I don't typically like to have these horizontal grid lines, and so to get rid of those grid lines, I'm going to go up to the top left-hand corner where it says Add Chart Element. I'm going to click the down arrow, and I'm going to look for grid lines. And you can see primary major horizontal is highlighted. I'm just going to click on that, and you see that they're now removed. If I want to change the title of this, I can just click on this once, and I can click in here, I can highlight this, and I can change it to any chart title that I want. So I'm just going to title this Figure 1, full colon. I'm just going to give it a label here, Perceived Exertion across different contraction intensities. Okay, and so now I have a title on this graph. Now to add my error bars, once again I have to have the graph highlighted. I'm going to go up here to Add Chart Element. Before I do that, I'm going to move this graph over a little bit because I want to be able to see my standard deviations. So I'm going to go back up to Add Chart Element, down arrow to Error Bars. And I want to click More Error Bar Options. And then when you do that, this set of options pops up here on the right hand side. So I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. I don't have a fixed value because the standard deviation is a function of each of the contraction intensities. So I want to go to Custom. I'm going to click on the circle here, and then I'm just going to click on the specified value, and it's going to open up this box. And what I want to do here is I want to copy the cells, the array of cells for the positive and the negative value, remembering that when we have a standard deviation, it's always a plus minus. So I'm going to highlight the first bar here. I'm going to delete that, and while that cursor is active, I'm going to highlight my standard deviations. Then I'm going to do the negative ones, and I'm going to delete that. And my cursor is active, so I'm going to grab the same values because it's a plus minus, and I hit OK. And what we see here are the standard deviations as error bars, and these are different lengths, and that makes sense because if we go back to our data here we see the lowest standard deviation is at the lowest contraction intensity of 10%, and we see a relatively shorter error bar. The largest standard deviation is seen at the 60% at 1.38, and we can see that's the larger error bar. And so this gives a good visual check to make sure that the correct data are added to this. Now for visual purposes, you can make a wide range of modifications to this graph. If you just click on the error bar here, you'll have a number of options to make certain changes to these error bars. And I'm going to click on the paint can looking symbol here, and we see the default width is 0.75. I can make that greater here. I'm going to go to 1. I'm going to go to 1.25, and if you see on the graph, these are a little bit thicker. I can do the same thing with the bars. So if I just click once on the bars, you see that they're highlighted, and I can scroll down and I can select a color. Now I may want to make that a different interior color, a little bit lighter, to make the error bars a little bit more visible. And I can check the line for the border, and right now I have it as the color white. I can choose black here, and now we have a border around each bar. So I'll leave it to you to to experiment with Microsoft Excel and to do and to produce a graph that's a little bit more descriptive in terms of its visual appearance. One more thing I do want to highlight here is that we don't have axis labels, but we need axis labels. And so to do this, we go back to Add Chart Element, and we just want an axis label or an axis title. So I'll start with the primary horizontal. I'll just click and highlight what is already the default there for axis title, and I'm going to type in contraction intensity, and I can highlight this box. I can go up to home, and I can just play around with the font sizes because I do want this to be a little bit more visual for the reader. If I want to take the font size up for the individual percents, I just click once, and right now it's set at 9. I can make it 10.5, I can make it 11, just so that it appears a little bit better when presenting. Now I'm going to go back up to Chart Design. I'm going to add an axis title for the primary vertical, and my outcome measure is perceived exertion. I'm just going to highlight that box. I'm going to go back to home, and I might try a font size of 14. That looks a little bit big for me, so I might just go with a 12, and I'll click on the labels for the values, and I might want to take that up to say 11. So now we have our bar graph with the error bars that depict the standard deviation. If you want to make error bars with standard errors, then you would follow the first part, or you would go back to the first video and calculate the standard errors in a third row, copy and transpose that third row up to column K, and then when asked to make the custom error bars, instead of highlighting column J as we just did, you would highlight column A. Now if I highlight, just click once on the graph, I can right mouse click, I can copy the graph and paste it into a Word document, and with a range of different formats. So this ends the third part of making a bar graph with Microsoft Excel.